Hello and good day. This episode of Game of Names is Land, Air, and Sea. Marco Polo! Our very first person is going to be Marco Polo. Now, if you have a mark, M-A-R-K, it's in a place. It's a manifested active reference kinetic. And it's manifested right where it is, active reference kinetic. That's mark. But we have Marco, which is the manifested active reference constant to itself, ongoing. And where is this Marco going? Polo. Just like the game polo where you go back and forth. Polo, well, placement or potential, ongoing. Ling, or the active base of, ongoing. So he's an explorer that goes all over the place. And he's Venetian. Not a van, but a Ven-etian. It's vital expressed notion, expressed plus identified active notion, Venetian. So do you see, Marco Polo lived his name, lived his vibration, just like we all do. And his specific vibration happened to be not just one pole, like the North Pole and the South Pole, but the P-O-L-O, ongoing. So he was going all over the place, Marco Polo. Staying on the land, we have Paul Revere, born December 21st, 1734. Now, he is not known for doing anything in the river or the ravine, but Paul is the placement. AU is to augment, but you could say active and then underlying, and then L, the active base of. So it's a placement. Paul is something that is place, active, underlying, as it lie. And then Revere is to reference an expression, vitally expressing a reference of expression. So he rode back and forth and announced that the redcoats were coming. Born December, L, or the active base, as it lie, and then 21. So you just turn those two numbers around, 12, 21. It's literally LU, the as it lie, underlying, and then 1734. On cue, 1734, constant to itself, dia, to and from. So to ride back and forth and announce that the redcoats are coming. See, there's so much more to their details. But if we spent the time going through everybody's details, we could spend our whole lives talking about history. And instead of doing that, we should move forward and make new good vibrations. So I'm going to try really hard to not tangent too much on these later videos so that we can move on to the things that affect us now. 2 centuries after the midnight ride of Paul Revere, we have a man who made that ride a lot easier to get back and forth. We have Henry Ford, July 30th, 1863. And he was from Springwells Township. Now, what would springs and wheels amount to be? The automobile. Henry Ford is the here expressed notion, reference or active here, and then vitally identified. Because a Y is basically the symbol for yoking yonder, to take you back and forth. So you would say the here expressed notion, reference, vital identified, not forward, but form, force, or familiar, ongoing, referencing to and from. And how do you get back and forth this day and age? Well, this guy helped put that thing in place, and it's called an automobile. Henry Ford. July, severed and even, or degenerated and grouped. 30, the constant to itself, ongoing. And 1863, the reference of form, force, or familiar, constant to itself. So it's that constant to itself that helps you constant to itself, ongoing, severed and even, or generated and grouped. Well, that would be your car. And it comes from Henry Ford. Isn't it just beautiful? I know it is, but do you see it? The next man invented a car that ran on water. But let's just say that got a few people steamed. And people who hold power over others and make a lot of money, big oil, big gasoline, and big business, isn't going to let somebody make it so other people could get around for free using cars with water. That's just not going to happen in a corrupt world. But we won't go too deep into that. Let's just look at his name, Stanley Stanley is associated with the tool because it's the subject plus the active notion as it lie, expressed, vital identified. And then Allen is literally, it has the word lane scrambled in it for the car. Then we say active as it lie between two L's, expressing that notion. It's A which activates and E which expresses with two L's in between it, which add up to an X. So it's saying that this active thing centered in it expresses that notion. And then mayor, not like the word water, which is a W, 23, it's M, 13, coming into tense. And it's literally there in tense, 13. And it's manifest, express, vital identity, expressed reference. So it's a tool to express as not water, but mayor. And then his middle name being Allen is on the lane or to align with water. And then his birthday being August, which is the change of winds or the augmenting generated underlined subject plus, but here, the 8th month. And then August 24th being based dia or X, the centered, to and from, but to any, for. And then 1940. 40 is two T's, which is 2020, but we don't say that. We just say 40. No coincidence that it's WD-40, which would be plural, dia, hyphenated with where you're going in place, which is 40, 4D, and that's Stanley Allen Mayer. We won't go too deep into the scandals that went along with him, but look into it and see that we've always had a corrupt world, but we're growing, and it's time for people to step up and do something about those corrupt things. We could have so many more inventions that would work and not be as toxic to our environment, but what holds them back are people who have claimed power in the wrong way. So now we just have to take our own power back. When you truly have an open heart and you see things for what they really are, above and beyond all the drama in the world, you see how childlike and wonderful the earth is as God's creation. Now, this person, before we get off the topic of the land and the automobiles, we have Sultan Ahmed Al-Jabbar. If you know what it is to jab something, and you would say the Ahmed active here, manifested, expressed to and from dia, and you just say mid, as in middle, but Ahmed. Al is the active as it lie, and then if you wanted to jab something where it lies, like an oil drill, it would literally be bringing that active as it lie, intense, active base, expressed reference. And he's a tycoon from oil, the head of the National Oil Company. Then his birthday is August, which is 8, the year, 31st, which is it's already in 30, so it's the constant to itself or the unseen active. And then 1973 would be generated or grouped, constant to itself or unseen. And he's rich from oil. You see, people have allowed themselves to be led astray and not even know what they're doing here, and they're manipulating and basically destroying the planet. Most people don't want to understand that because there are much better ways. We've already went over Stan Mayer. It's pretty simple. We could do a lot of different things, and we just aren't doing it because big corporations won't allow it. So we remove them, and we live our lives, and we use our creativity to do the amazing things we could have always done. I rest my case. Who disagrees? If you have hundreds and thousands of dollars or millions of dollars or billions of dollars, your vote doesn't count anymore. Because money is the deception that kept us all tied down. And it's just time for it to be done. Next, we have somebody who didn't just travel in a car or do something with the land. He literally traveled all over the globe for National Geographic and told of his adventures. We have David Frederick Attenborough, born May 8th, 1926. Now remember, he went all over the place for National Geographic. David is the to and from dia, active vital identified to and from dia. And then Frederick is the form force for familiar reference, expressing dia, expressed reference. identified constant to itself kinetic. And then Attenborough is like attending the borough, but not just the borough. Attenborough, one word, active plus plus, which is TT 4D in place, express notion, base ongoing reference, ongoing underline generated in group. So he went all over the place, and he was the one talking about his adventures for National Geographic. And then May being E, the expressive, 8 being here, and 26 is Z from side to side, or based, form, force, or familiar. See how it completely resonates with his name, to travel the world and tell of his adventures. David Frederick Attenborough, May 8th, 1926. Moving on from the land, we have Amelia Earhart. Now with her name, A is the activation. M is manifesting intense. It's the first thing. It's 13. E is bottom line expression. L is the active base. So if you went A, activated, a manifestation, and then expressing along the bottom line, that would be like the plane running along the runway. And then the I identifies action. So it's active, manifest, expressed, as it lie, identifying action. So that's like a plane. And then you would go to her middle name being Mary. Mary, just like Joseph, Mary's the manifestation of the air, vitally identified. But you would just say manifest, active, reference, vitally identified. And then Earhart, but it's spelled expressing, active, reference, here, active, reference, plus, art, Earhart. It literally has air in it twice, with AR and EAR sounding like air. And then born July, the 7th month, 7 and even, or generated and grouped. 24, 2 any, dia, or centered. And then 1897, the reference, identified, generated and grouped, or severed and even. So it's from the land into the air. And her name is Amelia Mary Earhart. Mary Earhart. You really can't say you don't see it. How about the Wright brothers? Now we're going to go in age order, not alphabetical order. And first we have Wilbur Wright, born April 16th, 1867. That's a good day. And then we have Orville Wright, August 19th, 1871. So Wilbur, being the plural identified as it lie base underlying reference, or active here, and then Wright, plural reference identified, generating here plus. Okay, April 16th is 4, dia, 16, potential or placement, and then 18 as a reference, 67 as form, generated and grouped. Now, Orville Wright, being ongoing reference, so he's the second brother after Wilbur, who had to have a plural brother because his name is Wilbur, plural, identified as it lie, base, underlying reference, Wright. Orville, ongoing reference, vitally identified, between two L's, or as it lie, expressing. So then you say August, the change of winds, or the here, 19, subject, and then 1871 as a reference, or the active here, generated and grouped, active. So when you put those two people together, because they are pluralized with a W as the Wright brothers, two of them, plural, and then you have a wheel bird, Wilbur, over the village, Orville Wright, and together they were the ones who invented the flying machine, or in other words, the plane. You have to see, is this not something that just makes complete sense? Of course it does, and even if you think it's just a coincidence that somehow every word, every name, every person, everything ever written or spoken about aligns with a universal law, which is the Word of God, and they play out through energetic bodies and manifest into material bodies, who also have the ability to change the outcome each time. I know this because I remember their lives. But since it doesn't matter to me to sit and dwell on history that other people have doctored and written about certain ways, there's no point of ever trying to debate that with people who want to be right and control what the information is. So therefore, We need to move forward because only when you find in your heart what is true about it all, you don't need any more verification from past stories. You can move forward and create the new world that is meant to be created, not to be brought back around. All right, to really cap off the air section, I've got 3 people known for similar things, all not just the air, but way out there in space, okay? First, Edwin Powell Hubble, November 20th, 1889. Edwin is to express to and from the win, or the plural identified notion. Powell, placement ongoing, plural, expressing between 2 L's or centered on something. And then here, unit, based upon itself, as it lie, expressing. His birthday being November 20th is the kinetic plus 89, or 1889 is to reference here identified. And he's the guy who invented the Hubble telescope. So if you wanted to work through the window, Edwin, in place, ongoing, plural, expressing between here, centered on, here, unit, based upon itself, as it lie, expressing, that is exactly what a telescope is. Moving on from him is another telescope man, and it's just a coinky-dinky that he is the junction of AMS, and his middle name happens to be Edwin, working through a window. Webb is the plural expressed base, just like Hubble, but he's got a plural expressed in front of it. Instead of a here, unit, base, as it lie expressing, he's a plural expressed base. Now, James is the junction of active, manifest, expressed, and subject, and then Edwin is the expression dia, plural identified notion, and then Webb is the plural expressed based upon itself. His birthday being October 7th, 1906 is 10, generated and grouped or severed and even, ongoing, form, force, or familiar. Do you see he's also a telescope guy? Now how about the guy who's known for space travel? Well, look at his first name, Edwin. To work through the wind, or to work through the window, but not necessarily the window because it's not the word window, it's plural identified notion. The other two have something that is located somewhere in the center of something, and they're working through it, along with Edwin, and then Powell Hubble is a place ongoing, plural expressed between 2 L's, and then James Edwin Webb is the plural expressed base. Now this man, he is working through the plural identified notion of Eugene, the bottom line expression, underlying unit, to generate or group or sever and even an expressed notion of expression. And then Aldrin, active as it lie, to and from or dia, the active here identified notion. But then when you go into what his known name is that he resonated with, you have B, base, U, underlying, and then from one side to the other, upon itself, ZZ. So what did he do? What was he known for? Going to the moon and back. Is that one side or the other? That's base unit from one side to the other. Is it not? And it's upon itself as him. He's also got Edwin in his name, like the other 2 guys that are known for space telescopes. And then we have another guy who's known for going out into space. Do you see? His birthday being January, which is 1, the activation. Put that symbol down if you can think of what A indicates. Activation. And then 20, which is a T. Put that symbol out, and it goes up to the top line. 1930. In 3D, so he's going to be the active plus 3D, 30. Working through the window? What do you think that might mean? Do you think the space landing was real? Whether it was or wasn't, did these people not play their part in the cosmos, in the universe? Yes, they did. We're not going to dive into any speculation, because we all know the truth. We just don't want to face it. It's all just beautiful playground of God. That's what it is. It's this beautiful playground of God. And we need to just understand what it is and not get fascinated about what's out there and worry about what's in us. That's how he fixed the planet we're on and make life sustainable and worth living. Now we'll move on to the one last guy. I didn't do much about water, but he covers it all, and it's great. By any chance you haven't watched any of my other videos or haven't seen how everything falls into place, this should really help hammer it home that I'm not joking about We Are Living Word. Jacques Cousteau, the man of the ocean, an oceanographer, the guy who came up with scuba. Okay, Jacques hyphenated with Yves, Y-V-E-S. Think of the word aqua, A-Q-U-A. No, that's not what this is. It's J coming into tense, then A-Q, then U, and not an A, an E, to express that subject, E-S. So it's the junction, active, unseen concept, constant to him, on cue, as a unit, expressed subject, hyphenated with the vital identity, vital, expressed subject. So if you were the Jack of the Aqua, Jacques, and you wanted to vitally identify the vital expressed subject, you would make scuba gear. And Cousteau is the constant to itself, ongoing unit, subject plus the expressed active units, or unit. So it's literally the whole ocean. The way to vitally identify the vital expressed subject, which is scuba, and his birthday being June 6, force, form, or familiar, 11, the kinetic or the actively active, and then 1910 is the 10, what's coming into tense. So if you want to do form, force, familiar, actively active, or kinetic, the coming into tense or the junction of, it's literally water and learning how to breathe in it and act in it and be in it. It's all simple, straight intense. Like 6 is form, force, familiar. 11 is kinetic. 10 is coming into tense. That's water. And form, force, familiar, that explains why Jacques-Yves Cousteau was an oceanographer. The Jack of the Aqua, the vitally identified, vital expressed subject for scuba, and Cousteau as in the cast of, or the man of the waterland. Jacques Cousteau. I say all these things the way I do and emphasize them because I'm telling you, when people have a memory of a past life, it's because throughout their own life, they've resonated with another person that had similar combinations. And then they remember one of their past lives. What I was able to do was go into all of them and know how to understand them to the point where I can presently help people in the current conditions in any time era. And I, as a Christed individual, am here at this present time on earth to save humanity from what they've done wrong. Now, so many people have it in their heads that it's blocked because they're trying to look somewhere else to find the answers. And I'm the only one who's showing you why God is the Word, why mysterious things happen with words. And then when you get into the science or the other side of the occult ones where they talk about spells and magic, I'm telling you all of it right here. This seems like eternity to me. It has been since the beginning and past the end, back to the beginning, back to the end. And it seems like that forever for me as an individual, as a human being. I remember that. As the I, the Creator God, that is who I am. I have to say Christ so people don't get too offended by me saying I'm not only one with God, I have the memory of God. I can't lie about it because it's so magnificent and it's so important that for the planet we live on to survive and to continue, I need to get my message to people. And I need people who understand that this couldn't possibly be understood by somebody unless they understood it and were taught by something more powerful than what human beings think they are. And I can explain that to people. They just have so many stories they'd rather believe than the truth in front of their face being explained in detail. This is where human beings have to get out of their own way and listen with their heart if they still have it. And if you are one of them, you need to explain to other people the importance of my message. We're getting urgent, guys. It's time to make some moves and help me help you save your family and your own futures. Until next time, God bless. I love you, and that's why I say it like this. We need action now.